Welcome back. Welcome back. Episode 53. I got my guys here, Julian. We got Gabe. And we're bringing the heat today. Big emphasis on heat because I'm going to jump right into it.
Unintended.
I am not even going to ask how y'all feeling today. All three of us are back. And, because he's a very good, close friend of mine. And this is like from the purity of my heart. I really just want to check in with my guy Gabe over here and just see how he's doing. Before I even get into sports talks, I really just want to check in on him over here. He's trying to hide under his hat in the corner over here. But Gabe, before me and Julian get into it, I'm just gonna give you a chance to speak. See how you doing. Check in on you. He's sipping his beer over here.
What is there to speak on? I don't know. There's mixed feelings, I guess. Kind of recapping the season, I guess, the playoffs and the season. I guess the playoffs was pretty terrible, man. It was pretty terrible for a playoff series. It seems like you either lost by a lot or you won by a lot. It was never really, competitive, like visually good, like fun to watch. I feel like Miami Heat were always playing from behind. Obviously, they go home, Game 7. They drop Game 7 at home. Pretty much a terrible game. They were down the entire time. I don't think they ever led the game. They were almost leading in that fourth quarter, and they drop it. So overall feelings, I'm sad because I hate Boston. I do not like Boston. It's one of the fan bases that I do like to hate, and we lost to them. But the better team moves on. That's pretty much my comment. That's where I'm at right now. I don't know what from the game or the series, Jojo, that you saw that you liked, or what were your comments from the series overall versus Boston?
Honestly, this was definitely a weird series. It's weird because we did predict it to go 6 or 7 just based off the matchups, right? Both teams have great starters. They have a deep bench, high-ranking offense, high-ranking defense. And then obviously the first 3 or 4 games were crazy because, again, they were just blowouts. They were complete blowouts. I think up until Game 4, it was a weird stat. Like there was only 4 lead changes in the entire series. So pretty much who came out hot and took the lead in those games, they won those first 4 games, 3 or 4 games, which was crazy. And kudos to both teams. Both teams actually found a way to win on the road, which is odd in a series like this. You think both teams would actually defend home court. The Heat opened up with a split with Boston here in Miami. They went to Boston, won a huge Game 3. Me and Julian were actually out that night when that game was going on. We were up in Fort Lauderdale, and we were like, whoa, Game 3, Heat are up right now in Boston, and Bam had a huge game. So heading to Game 4, you'd expect the Celtics to bounce back, of course, which they did. And then now we have the series tied. Then the Heat dropped Game 5 at home, which we all knew was a must win. Because then you're gonna head into Boston Game 6, and then there you go. Jimmy Butler put on the superhero cape, and he channeled his inner, as you can see, LeBron that game. He had a huge game, 47 points in Boston. And I think LeBron back, 10 years ago, that was a 10-year anniversary of his huge game in Boston. Game 6, same scenario. It was a must-win game. He dropped like 45, I believe. And then to come back home, you think they could finish the job at home. Just one more game. And it's everything you'd expect. You won the big Game 6 away to give yourself a chance at Game 7 at home. And you should have the utmost confidence. And I watched that entire Game 7. And the Heat just came out way too late. Yes, they had that little run at the end, which you needed to play perfect to be down 10 in the last 4 to 5 minutes of the game, which they pretty much did. But honestly, it was just a little too late. The Celtics kept them at arm's reach the entire game, didn't let them catch up. And it's of course, it's that third quarter. That third quarter makes the difference in the playoffs. Whoever wins the third quarter pretty much wins the entire game. That's my take on the series, and I just think that the Heat came out flat. No one helped Jimmy Butler. Bam had one great game, but it's a series, and we need you to have more than one. Unfortunately, your other scorer, Tyler Hero, was out. But he's your sixth man. Where the rest of the starters? Kyle Lowry came out a little too late. He made big defensive plays, but he's always going for a charge or things like that, which work. But we need you on the offensive side as well to help Jimmy B. As far as Oladipo, he shows some signs of light. Maybe knock down, isolation threes, anything like that, or random layups. But overall, as a team effort, their ball movement wasn't there. They weren't making plays in transition, and that's one of their strengths, right? They played great defense. They're getting the turnovers, but they just weren't scoring on the other end. And I just feel like that's what cost them the game there.
Julian, any takeaways from the Celtics Heat series? Take away from the season. What you got?
Yeah, I mean, they didn't deserve to win. Like, at the end of the day, like, I felt like nobody showed up that entire series except for like a game here or there. But at the end of the day, it's the Eastern Conference Finals. You need you can't just show up for one game like JoJo was saying. You need to show up the entire series. And only winning one game at home is just entirely unacceptable. You cannot just win one game at home out of four that you have with home court advantage. Like like you said, they were down from the jump. I mean, the first quarter, I mean, it started off like 25-9 or something like that. It was just
most of the
from
game.
from the get go, and and then you're just playing catch up. And like when you can do that every now and then, you can come back and win, but to constantly do that over and over again, especially against a team like Boston, like
Facts.
it's going to bite you in the ass. And they had a little bit of a run towards the end of the second quarter to bring it a little closer, and the third quarter. But then they let it slip away from him again by the end of the third quarter and pretty much the entire fourth quarter up until like the last 2 minutes. And you started to come back, but it was a little too late. Jimmy Butler missed that three that would have gave him the lead. Some people question if he even should have shot that three or went to try to just tie up the game. I'm okay with him shooting three. If you have that shot, take it. Unless there was somebody open. I didn't really analyze it that deeply. But it's like the Heat, they never looked like the dominant team that entire series except outside of one game. And nobody showed up. I mean, Jimmy Butler had some good games, but I felt like he wasn't as a dominant force as he should have been. But then also, it's not just up to him. It's a whole team sport. Everybody needs to show up. Just because Tyler Hero's hurt at the end of the day, like you said, he's a six man. He's not a starter, and you still have four other role players on the bench that should step up and show up.
Facts.
And it was just a team that just didn't deserve to win. They looked like they didn't know what to do. And I don't know, man. As a Heat fan, it's like it's embarrassing, kind of, just to see like the way they just like fumbled the bag. Like the fact that they took two from Boston is huge. Like that is really huge. That's a big accomplishment. But you can't even win at home, even in Game 7. Like people had them ruled out for Game 6 because like, oh, you're not going to go back to Boston to win.
Exactly.
And somehow they won.
And they won.
And I was even telling, and Gabe was like pretty much calling it at Game 6 of the last episode. And I was like, I don't know. It's possible they can come back. It's possible because they've already won at Boston, and they did. And I'm like, okay, maybe they can redeem themselves here in Game 7. But it was just another, just a very flat game. Just a really flat game offensively.
Thanks.
And even defensively.
That's
I think what do you think going forward with the team now? Because I think we've seen this before with this Miami Heat team. The front office, they usually make moves after this, right? We had injuries. We were hoping for that bubble Tyler Hero to ascend finally, getting the accolades that he has, the growth. But you don't see him. You bring in veteran Kyle Lowry. You make some moves on the roster. What do you think going forward? The future of the Miami Heat looks like, as far as like, do you think they're going to run it back same team? Do you think you see any changes? Because I definitely have an opinion on that.
I don't think they're going to change much. I think they're going to probably move a player or two. I think they feel, and Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra and the coaching staff feel that they have a championship winning team. The biggest problem with the Heat is just people just not picking and choosing when they want to show up.
Yeah,
it's picking and choosing when they want to show up. And that's what pisses me off because the talent is there to win it all. It is. But I mean, even before Tyler Hero's injury, how many games was he just absolutely non-existent in, and in the playoffs? And I get that you're not a starter and you're 6 man, but you won 6 man of the year for a reason. Like, you need to come in there and be the role player that you should be,
Yeah,
not
I
pick and
mean,
choose when you want to
honestly,
have games. Same thing with Duncan Robinson. Same thing with Bam. Jimmy at times. Like, it was just like, I just feel
bro,
like you need
and
to see that
another
consistent
name,
play that we saw Celtics had the entire series. Celtics stayed remained consistent that entire series, and the only times they were really down and looked like they were struggling was when they had injuries.
yeah,
But
and honestly, the scary part was the Heat would play amazing defense, still be down in a count, playing catch up, and you had guys like Jaylen Brown. You know, let's say he didn't perform well in the first half because you played great defense. Now here's the scary part: how are you going to close out the game if if Brown and Tatum come back in that second half because the Heat, they can't score enough points. So once those two guys got hot, like it was over. Because you didn't have that offensive matchup. Like the defense was great. Even though we're losing, I know it sounds weird to say, like they had a lot of steals, they had a lot of blocks. They just couldn't convert those points in transition. And you got guys like Strus, Lowry. What would they start like 0-10, 0-20 as a collective, 0-20, which is ridiculous, bro. This is ridiculous.
and I will say too, like
Yeah,
I felt like at times they were relying way too much on the 3-point shot.
it's a fact.
Like they're throwing up
Game.
30, 40 3-point shots. If the 3-point shot ain't there, you gotta change it up, bro.
A lot of
Definition
these
insanity is
teams,
doing the same thing, expecting a different result. Like
the new generation of basketball. It's a
you're
new
just gonna sit there
generation.
and
You live or die by the three now. A lot of these teams, you just live or die by the three, and you forget how to
you
actually
just
play
can't
basketball.
do that.
Well, I mean,
But I think,
that
Gabe,
has to
sorry,
be
real quick.
I
Yeah,
was gonna say that has to
answer
be a
your
strategy.
question,
Okay, go ahead, Jojo. Finish with that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, just to answer your question, sorry about the awkward moment. The future of the team, I don't think they're gonna make any huge changes. I do think they need to develop their players a little more on the offensive end. It doesn't matter what position you play. Like if you're a center like Bam or these point guards, shooting guard, like you guys need to score too. Like yeah, you have the Heat culture, great defense, you play aggressive, but you guys like they need like a Chris Middleton, someone with a mid range game that can create offense. Like we all know Jimmy
I
B
was
isn't
I was
the
literally
best
thinking that.
offensive player. Like he plays hard. And if he's your highest scorer in your team and he's not even known as being a scorer, then like you need something else. You need a spark. You had Tyler Hero, yeah, 6 man, but you need another starter in that role, like just a great shooting guard that can create plays for the team. That's why I think in the future that's what they should look at. Instead of having a veteran, you have enough veterans on the team now. So Kyle Lowry we thought was a good move. Yeah, his leadership, he won a title, cool, but he's not the same Kyle Lowry now that he was in Toronto creating that offense.
I was gonna say
clearly struggling.
I would like to see them have like a consistent like number 4, like somebody just like in that mid range and in the paint who can go in there and just get cleanup shots and get rebounds, like because just to take the pressure off Bam too. Like when Bam's in the paint, I mean, he's just getting stormed. Like he.
I mean, what about a Joel Embiid, man? He's a center. He takes all the hits. He takes all the contact, and he's still a great offensive player. And he's a big man.
I love Bam, but at the end of the day, he's not Joel Embiid.
Jokic
like,
as well, which I know he's a 2-time MVP, but like some of these bigger guys, Bam. That's what I'm saying. They need to develop an offensive game. You need to work on your game. You need to be able to score. You need a little mid range. You need hook shots. You need I
would like a better PJ Tucker.
But PJ's, he's not even a center.
I'm not talking about a center, just like a 4-3 hybrid. I would like somebody who's better than him. I think you can upgrade at that position.
Then you just have to match that defensive intensity. Though it's going to be hard to find somebody like that can kind of do both. But yeah, go ahead, Gabe.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, going down the roster list, I definitely think there's gonna be moves made. I don't think Roddy's going to sit back and run it back. Like he's going to make changes. Bradley's too hungry, too desperate to win. I mean, going down the roster, I think Jimmy was enough. Like Jimmy's not an offensive guy, but he came to the playoffs and he showed out. Obviously, putting up franchise record numbers and stuff. So Jimmy was enough. Jimmy did enough for this playoff. barring his injury to his knee, and he got twerked by Pritchard, that
Fact.
freaking white.
They
white
were
devil,
all playing hurt.
Pritchard.
Both teams.
So I think Jimmy was enough. I think Bam, he had a couple games, but like you said, Jojo, it wasn't. It's a series. It's not like you can show up in a game, but what are you doing over 7 games or whatever?
Facts.
So Bam, still waiting on the next evolution of Bam. I think Bam is establishing himself as a all-star in this league, but all-stars have to act like all-stars as well. Let's go down the list. Tyler Hero injured again. He's out with the groin. I really can't say too much for Tyler Hero. I think he does well, produces well. I expect for him to grow. Victor Oladipo. I think Victor Oladipo is a liability. There's this big push this season, especially finally having him at the last half. He came in basically at the end of the season to play a couple games, and he showed flashes, but it's like, yeah, you show flashes on whatever last game of the season. You put up 40 points. It's like you're playing Orlando, whoever the hell you're playing, the Pacers or some no-name team that's not even in playoffs. You're like, okay, it looks nice, that's hopeful, but I think on defense he's a liability, and offensively in that game 7, I mean, he was chucking up shit that wasn't going in, and it's like, okay, we need another option because, like I said, there was this big push for him to start and to get minutes, but I thought other guys played well. Max Strus, I thought he played well. I thought he was pretty good the minutes that he played. Gabe Vincent, I think, also did well. I think he is a good little player to keep on your bench. Bam, like I said, needs to take that next step. I feel like there's going to be some trades in the work. I feel like, about Duncan Robinson. Duncan Robinson, you can't pay this guy $90 million to sit in the playoffs. I mean, that's just unacceptable.
Yep, that's a fact.
Yeah.
There's a level of responsibility, I guess. I mean, I don't know what the coaches saw as far as if he was a liability defensively, because a lot of times the teams would attack him at Duncan Robinson. But at least if you're not going to play defense, at least shoot the ball. Like, at least have the confidence to shoot, because that's literally your job. You know what I mean? If you're getting paid $90 million, it's not to sit on the bench. Like, I'll pay Haslam $90 million. So I got to pay you. So Duncan, I feel like there's going to be some moves made. Obviously, we saw on Twitter Troll Embiid trolling the internet, saying Jimmy needs help. He needs a big man. I would love for some shit like that to go down, where we get
that's like
hype.
I was going to say,
Because
speaking of
we need that
Haslam,
we need that guy, that kind of primary guy. Go ahead, Drew.
I was going to say, like, I feel like a modern day Haslam would be perfect for this team. Like, if you had a modern day Haslam, I think would be really
baseline jumpers, little defense at the rim. He's undersized for a center. He's undersized.
I don't say he's a center. He's like a 4. He's like a power forward.
PJ Tucker. I like PJ Tucker in general as a roster move, but he's older. I think the guy's like 37. Like he's
that's what I'm saying. I think
he culture guy, but we need we're gonna need youth.
That's exactly what I was.
I feel like the window on Jimmy Butler is very small right now. You know what I mean? Especially as he's ending towards the end of his contract. He's probably gonna want another big blown up CP3 type contract where it's
that's a
too
fact.
Bloated. You know what I mean?
That's
too bloated to move. You can't move it. You know what I mean? He's a bloated well out in the ocean. So I feel like the window to win, I think Jimmy Butler is enough to win a championship. But you need surrounding cast, right? Because he's not known as an offensive player, but we saw his performance in this series. So I feel like there's going to be moves. I'm not going to be surprised if Bam Adebayo moves. I'm not going to be surprised if Tyler Hero moves. That's a good moving piece. If Duncan Robinson moves, I feel like these are all things that are possible roster moves that I'm not going to be shocked if I hear about it.
I can see that. I can definitely see a Duncan Robinson move. I can see that. Yeah. What position would you like, or just like typical kind of like player you think that is lacking that they can improve on?
Well, there's
like how I said PJ Tucker. I feel like somebody like that you can improve. You can get a better player out of it.
Well, there's rumors for like about 10 years now about Bradley Beal. We heard rumors about Kyle Lowry. We heard rumors about Bradley Beal's still out there.
That would
Bradley Beal wants to move.
You need a guard, a skillful guard that can score by any means. Great team player. He's a leader, veteran. He's on a team that's going nowhere. Get him out.
He's never gone anywhere.
Get him out. This man is so underrated, Bradley Beal.
How much has he got left, though?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's going to be a better option than Victor Oladipo.
Get rid of
Yeah.
Oladipo. Get rid of, if you have to, Tyler Hero for him. You like you got to.
I'd be fine.
I'm
I
not
would
saying
be
give up
fine
your
getting
whole
rid of
team.
Tyler Hero. I would
But
be
yeah, a
perfectly okay
Bradley
with it.
Beal, you're not gonna find another Bradley Beal who's just a great player on a whack team who just he can honestly bring you a championship.
Here's why I'll say sell Hero, sell high. He just won a Sixth Man of the Year. I think he's not getting any. I don't see him getting any better than that on this team.
Hey, he'd be a great starter on another team.
Yeah, but
maybe
like
on
for the
Wizards.
Heat, I mean, I think he's capped. I think he like Sixth Man of the Year, like that. I think sell now, like sell high, because last thing you want is like that was it, and then the year after he's just going to be injury prone, and he's just not going to be the same guy. But like a lot of people were worried about last year on his sophomore slump. So I say I would be perfectly okay with them moving on from him if he's not going to be a role
Yeah.
player.
So that was it. Let's transition over to the Western. Well, I guess the final. We already cut a little bit last week about the Western Conference final, but now we're in the finals final.
NBA Finals. You got your Golden State Warriors back for the 100th time, and your Boston Celtics, historical team that Gabe hates. They're also back once again. Steph Curry and gang fighting for their fourth ring. Then you got the Boston Celtics fighting to take the lead on the Lakers. I think they're tied in championships total for the both
No, we don't
organizations.
count those championships. We don't count them.
I think they're
Bubble frauds. Bubble
That's when they had Bob
frauds.
Cousy and Havlicek playing.
Bubble frauds.
They got
who's bubble
probably
fraud?
four.
He and the Lakers.
Boston Celtics.
We're not talking the Lakers now. I'm talking like historically as an organization.
I know.
Oh, Boston the Lakers.
I know, but take away the bubble chip.
Oh, this guy. Hey, listen, last time Celtics won was in what, 2008?
No, they won another one, didn't they? Did they only win one?
No, that was the big three.
The original big three.
They own. Yeah, but they only won one.
2008.
Damn.
Yes.
I didn't think they only won one.
Nope, they only won once. Anyways, huge matchup here. What do you guys expect from this turnout of events? I mean, you got a fully healthy Golden State team with an amazing young core and a fully capable Boston Celtics team who's very defensive oriented, and they also have a great bench and amazing starters. I think this is going to be a great one.
I mean, first of all, these games are going to be, just in general, as a basketball fan, these are going to be terrible to watch. Okay, you got East Coast, the extreme East Coast versus the extreme West Coast. It's literally on two opposite sides of the continent. Terrible. Probably not going to watch all these games.
That's a fact.
I'll probably be watching a lot of highlights. I'm not staying up till 2 o'clock in the morning just to watch Golden State. Overall, the matchups, I think it's going to be interesting. I think Golden State's coming in here as the favorites. And Boston, it's going to be interesting to see what kind of things they throw at.
Are they the favorites?
Golden State.
They are, actually.
Pretty sure they're the favorites.
Yeah.
You go on FanDuel, check. You can double check me, but I'm pretty sure
it's
a popularity contest.
The favorites.
Golden State is the favorite. But also, I want to shout out to their coach Udoka, to the Celtics coach Udoka. I feel like in that Heat series, he made tons of adjustments, which is very good for a young coach that you're looking for, a guy who's actually watching the game and making adjustments that help your team win. So it'll be an interesting matchup, I think, in general. But I think I still got Golden State overall. I think Golden State is playing on all cylinders right now. They're the hottest team, literally the last team, the hottest team in the playoffs. There's only two of them. So
I was gonna say real quick, it's really close. Golden State is the favorites, but it's close. It's minus 160 to plus 135.
All right.
It's pretty close.
So we'll see. I still got Golden State in general, but I would like to see the matchup what they throw up, because obviously Boston. I think Boston is the better defensive team, but I want to see their offensive game, what they throw at the Golden State Warriors. I don't know if y'all got opinion.
Yeah,
on the
it's the classic matchup of a high-powered offense versus a really good defensive team. I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. Like, to me, this is a really tough one. Like, because Golden State hasn't showed any lapses in like performance at all, and we could say the same about Boston for the most part. Boston's been pretty flawless and been really strong. I don't know, man. I think obviously they're giving Golden State the edge because of home court, and that's going to play a big factor. But man, I mean, we also got to think about too. Boston's going to be playing late night West Coast games, which is going to be tough. I mean, playing at 10 o'clock at night, 10:30 at night. That's gonna be hard. That's gonna be playing at 1 a.m. for them. But
I mean, listen, I have Warriors taking this series. I'm not saying it's going to be an easy series. They just have the experience. They have the coaching. They've been there. And what you've seen in the playoffs, it doesn't matter what sport it is, experience plays a huge factor in the championship. In terms of preparation, your mental, your confidence. Like, they've been there against LeBron multiple times. And right now, no disrespect to these guys, but they finally got over the hump, Jason Tatum and, Jaylen Brown, and we're going to see what they can do on the big stage. Finally, they got through their revenge tour. Kudos to them. They beat 3 teams that's knocked them out in the playoffs in the past 3 seasons: the Heat, the Celtics, and the Nets. The Heat, the Nets, and who was it? Oh, the Bucks and the Bucks. Those 3 teams knocked them out in the last 3 seasons. New coach. And I say the series is not going to be easy for Golden State because Boston has proved that they can win on the road. I know they're heading in to a totally different environment on the West Coast here, but in the playoffs, playing away for them has not been an issue at all.
yeah, man. But like I was saying, 5-hour flight, playing till 1 a.m. That's gonna be tough.
Listen, Golden State has to come to the East Coast as well and deal with the jet lag.
Yeah, but you can play. But the thing is, you can play earlier because you're coming from West Coast. That's not the biggest of deals. That's just them playing at 5 p.m. But bro, playing till 1 a.m. in East Coast time, that's tough. That's in an environment like Golden, San Francisco, that's why. And like you said, yeah, experience plays a huge factor. But there's something about my gut that's just telling me that Boston, they can at least take it to a game 7. They're just, I love their defense so much, and that's all we saw this entire. I mean, they went against the Bucks, the Nets, and the Heat, teams that were putting up points in the regular season and in the playoffs, and they were able to stuff them. And how many games did they were able to hold teams under 100 points? Majority of them. I mean,
it's going to be crazy.
Golden State's a different animal.
Yeah. You got current defensive player of the year, Marcus Smart, playing against former defensive player of the year in Green. Then you got 2-time MVP, Steph Curry. 3-time champions on that team. Steve Kerr has won 8 championships as a player and a coach or something like that. That Golden State team. Then they have, a number 1 draft pick who's finally playing like a number 1 draft pick at the perfect time in his career, Andrew Wiggins, right out of Kansas, which is ridiculous.
It took 10 years, but here he is.
This is what you wanted to see.
It took a God squad.
Yeah, it took him to play with 2 of the best shooters of all time for him to see the confidence and the hard work and the ethic, and he doesn't need them to perform the way he is because he's just so comfortable and relaxed on that court because look who he has around him. But he's performing out of his mind, which is just that's a little X factor there. Not to say they don't need him, but it must be nice that KD leaves, but you still have a number pick on your team, just hanging around, doing what he's doing, scoring and everything. Must be nice for the Golden State Warriors.
I just thought of something too. I'm curious how this is going to, because Boston, they were at least throughout the whole playoffs, they're they'll let you shoot the three. You make those threes, that's one thing. But as you saw, the Heat weren't making them.
No,
I don't they'll let you shoot it, and I'm curious how they're going to treat that against obviously
you can't
one of the greatest shooters of all time.
You can't,
and that's That's how I'm curious how they're going to like. Are they just going to allow them to shoot the three? Because obviously, like when it comes to in the paint, like it's like teams really struggle against them scoring outside of the 3-point shot.
Quick
And
question
I'm
here
really
now.
curious how they do that, how they handle
Game
that.
1 tonight, right at it, right to the point. Does Golden State take the dub, or does Boston come in hot off this 7-game series and create just an upset and uproar and take Game 1 by storm? What do you guys think?
I mean, my gut's telling me stick with the home teams. I mean, I'm not going to go game 1. I
And
don't think they're going to shit the bed.
fresh legs.
Right? The only time we've seen Golden State shit the bed is that one game. I think it was like game 4 or something. They were in Memphis. They said apparently, they were taking it easy there. Apparently, the Twitter rumors where the Memphis strip clubs got the Golden State Warriors. So that's the only time we've seen them slip. I expect home. I'm going to stick with the home teams. Like, this is my gut. That's just my conservative thoughts. All the home teams should win, but it'll be a steal if they win 1 in Golden State. These first 2, it'll be a steal. That'll be ideal for the Celtics.
All right.
Bro, as long as they're making shots, there's no way Boston's winning. As long as Golden State's hitting those shots, you just can't stop that. Like when like Steph and Clay and when they get hot, bro, like how do you stop that? It doesn't matter how deep they are; they're just hitting them, and it's just like
I agree. So we got Gabe. What Golden State? Julian.
Yeah, Golden State winning game 1. They play tonight.
I got Golden State.
I am also going Golden State. So we got
also, I think being fresh, like having that a week off
3 days
essentially,
off.
like it's been a while, hasn't it?
Well, Boston had 3 days off. They played Monday.
No, but I'm talking
Yeah,
about
3 days.
Boston's coming off 3 days of a tough like 7-game series when Golden State just won in 5 and has had like a week, maybe more off. I don't remember when game 5 was. So yeah.
All right. So we all got Golden State winning tonight. Transitioning on, what you got here with the UFC, Julian? What is going on with that?
Gabe, you put UFC?
Yeah, I put the UFC. I just wanted to talk a little bit about UFC because I know Julian gets upset if we don't talk about MMA or anything going on.
That's exactly why I went straight to Julian. I'm like, hey, what do we got here?
I didn't know we had UFC in the docket.
Julian has his own fight set up this weekend that he wants us to go to.
Celebrity boxing match.
Well, we got 275 coming up, which is not really much notable. I want to talk about UFC 276. It's happening in July, so it's happening in a month.
Okay.
Just if you were getting excited for 276, I believe Adesanya is the head card. Adesanya is versus Cannonier. Yep. We have Pereira, Misha Tate's coming back apparently, and Sean O'Malley. Robbie Lawler's fighting a welterweight bout. So I was just saying that.
Yeah, this is like one of those Super Bowl cards. I want to get your
temperature. I want to get your temperature, Julian, for like what do you think about the 276? I know it is in a month. We have to still get through 275, but overall, just a gut feeling real quick. What is your initial take? Is this interesting? 276 in July.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, 276 is one, like, UFC every year has that one UFC event that is like the Super Bowl where it's like, I mean, it's just heavy hitters after heavy hitters when it comes to like great matchups and great fights. Yeah, this one should be no different. Like we said, we got Robbie Lawler fighting. I haven't been keeping up too much. So Uriah Hall's fighting, Sean O'Malley's fighting. Like I said, Misha Tate, Alex Pereira, Max Holloway versus Alexander Volkanovski, and Adesanya fighting. This should be a really two title fights on the line. Yeah, I'm super pumped for that card. That's gonna be a really good card. I don't really care so much about the main event because I think Adesanya is just gonna win that. I mean, I should do my research on Jared Cannonier.
Puncher's chance. Man.
I don't know much about him. So I have to do some research on him. So, but the cards underneath is what I'm really excited to see. Yeah, Misha Tate with her comeback and like that Max Holloway.
I miss watching Misha Tate fight, man.
I'm a big Max Holloway fan. He just always seems like a really just like nice guy. Like you always like he's like the nicest dude ever. Obviously Sean O'Malley's electrifying to watch. 15-1 right now. So this guy is claiming he's undefeated. because his one loss wasn't a real loss. Man, that guy's got to be pushing for a title fight soon. I don't know.
15-1. It's got to be around the corner.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta fight stronger opponents. To be fair, so. But yeah, that should be a really good card.
I just want to talk about real quick. I saw on the Ariel Hawani podcast that he does. I think he's out of Las Vegas. They had.
Actually, I think he's in Canada.
Well, he's Canadian, but he's lived in New York. But then I think he's in Las Vegas. The Mazda. He recently had Masvidal. I think it was on yesterday or the day before. Masvidal coming on interview. Still bringing up. Had to bring up. Who the fuck is this?
Who the fuck is this?
Who the fuck?
Conor McGregor.
God, what is his injury update?
I'm not pretty sure, but I just want to get your thoughts on this Conor McGregor Masvidal beef.
Oh my
Masvidal
God.
saying that he doesn't want to. Masvidal saying that Conor McGregor doesn't want to come up in weight. He doesn't want to go up to whatever 170, 150, whatever weight Masvidal is. In general, what do you think about the?
Listen, I think he's coming off two losses, and
hey, those weren't real losses.
He's gonna pick a fight at the man who's made the most money, the man who knows how to make money in that industry, and of course he had a gruesome injury, so perfect opportunity.
Oh, you're talking about Masvidal.
No. Conor McGregor. Yeah, his injury is terrible, bro.
No, when you're talking about the two losses, you're talking about Masvidal.
Yeah.
And
he lost his last two fights, correct?
Yeah, but I was thinking you're talking about McGregor because he also lost his last two fights.
No. So Masvidal coming off his two losses here, picking at Conor McGregor, the showman, who's had that gruesome injury as well, and I don't think it's real beef. It's entertaining though. It's something everyone's gonna divulge in, and we're gonna want to build the hype and see that fight. I don't see it happening. I think it's a good opportunity for Masvidal to take though, because what's a better way to get your name back in the mix, right, than fighting Conor McGregor, especially after those two losses that I mentioned. So I just think he's out there just talking shit, trying to build the hype and make some money around the next fight, and which he should be doing. You know what I mean? That's what you should be doing.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Because as long as Usman has the belt, Masvidal's not getting another shot. He's not. So what's the next thing you can do?
Yeah.
The only other thing you can do now is just try to get big name fights.
Yep.
Because as long as Usman has that belt, you're not getting another shot. One, you're not going to beat him. I don't think Masvidal has what it takes. I don't think Masvidal even earned the right to even fight him two times. So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you want to sell fights. Yeah, I mean, you got to talk about two of the most prolific trash talkers in the sport. I don't think it's the right thing for McGregor to do personally. I think going up to 170 is tough. He went up to 170 for Nate Diaz, but the one difference between that is Nate Diaz actually fought in lightweight and has a bunch of fights in lightweight. They both were lightweights that went up in weight. Versus Masvidal is a true welterweight. And I think that'd be a tough ask for McGregor. And I think if McGregor's really serious about winning a belt, which who knows, it seemed like going into the Poirier fight, he seemed like he was really dead set on trying to win the belt again. But I think now he's just, I don't know where his mind is. If I was him, I would just work on just trying to make as much money as you can and make big fights. Yeah, then do the Masvidal fight.
Who else?
But if you are very serious about trying to go after the belt again, you need to go after a legit lightweight competitor. But I think McGregor feels like he's already done it. I think after that injury, I think he's just gonna I think if he would have beat Poirier, they would have won. I still think there's gonna be a Poirier 3, even though McGregor lost twice. I think that second fight was so much it was such a freak accident. I feel like Dana is usually more inclined to give it another shot since it was a freak accident. And I don't like the argument, well, he was losing the fight. That don't mean shit. People were losing the fights in the beginning all the time, and then at the end, they'll end up winning. It's fighting at the end of the day. Shit happens. But I don't know. Yeah, it seems like they're trying to stir something up. I don't know if McGregor said anything. I don't know if Gabe, you heard about anything about that?
I haven't heard a response. Like I said, Masvidal was a guest with Ariel last recently, so I haven't heard a response. Obviously,
It
I
looks
can
like
just guess.
Masvidal wants it more than McGregor. McGregor
Yeah,
gives me the
for
vibe
sure.
that he's going to want to try to go for
For
the belts
sure.
again, and I think he's going to want to fight a legitimate component. I mean,
Yeah,
opponent in
but
in the lightweight
you
division.
think he wants to? You think he wants to legitimately fight though? I feel like McGregor is kind of like he's like The Rock, right? He's transcended fighting. Like he wants to be
I don't know, man. I don't.
liquor guy. He wants to be a character, more of
I think he
a
wants it
brand
all.
than a
Yeah.
fighter.
I think he wants it all.
He's reached the top, right? He's reached the top in terms.
The only
Undeserving.
fighter to hold
Listen,
the only fighter to hold
he
two
had
belts
two belts. He had two belts.
simultaneously.
Yes. And he made all the money in the world with the Mayweather fight. He had it all, right? The hardest part about making it to the top is staying at the top. It could be whatever's going on, the distractions, his showboating, and he could have just lost his way and he had a freak accident. He has all this karma coming at him in his career, right? Now the biggest thing is, how do you bounce back now? You kind of dropped. He's not entirely at the bottom, but he's not the McGregor he used to be. And I really want to see his story transcend into how he responds from taking these losses and that injury, and to see if he actually takes fighting serious again. To see if he wants to be at the top and be a champion. And, it's not about the money at this point because he has all the money in the world.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to the next thing. I'm kind of surprised coming into the show. Gabe actually wanted to talk some European football.
Wow.
With me. I was a little surprised.
Wow.
So
that makes two. That makes 2 out of 3, but I'll be here. Throw my 2 cents.
So yeah, over the past week, the UEFA Champions League had just had its final between Real Madrid versus Liverpool. It was a thrilling 1-0 win for Real Madrid.
How exciting.
No, it was actually a pretty good game, to be honest with you. It was all right. I think the most impressive thing about this game was just like, man, the way everybody counted Madrid out. Madrid was the underdog in every single game and every single leg. They were the underdog, and they weren't supposed to come out. They didn't have and then somehow they just kept on proving everybody wrong, and they went through the gauntlet. They took down PSG, Chelsea, Man City, and then finally beat Liverpool in Paris for the finals. And man, Benzema is an absolute stud at, I think, 36 years old. The man is still just bagging goals, and he should be the favorite to win Ballon d'Or. And he rightfully so, he should win it. But yeah, Gabe, did you watch it at all? Since you wanted to bring it up.
Yeah, I was watching. I didn't get to watch the end of it. I was watching the beginning of it. Obviously, I think going into it, it was obviously in France. One of the biggest things was, I guess, they were having crowd problems. There was a lot of people there's like tens of thousands of people that came like without tickets. Apparently,
Wow.
English fans. They just came to the stadium, and there was like a big controversy. They had to delay the match like an hour and a half just to calm down the crowds because people were trying to get in. People who had tickets were trying to get in, but they were blocked by people who didn't have tickets. Big whole deal. But once the match started, obviously, you kind of saw, like Julian said, it was a good matchup. I think he already kind of noted how Madrid really wasn't supposed to be there, and Madrid pulls it out. I thought it was pretty notable. Like I don't watch a lot of soccer, so the fact that they got me to sit down and actually watch a little bit of it, I thought it was pretty interesting.
It was impressive. It was a really impressive run, and I watched every game of every leg, and I mean, them winning and being like, especially like the Chelsea leg was insane. Like how they were down, I think 5-3 on aggregate, and they came back and won, or just them being like down, I think 3-1 on aggregate, and then coming back and winning 4-3 on aggregate. It was just like it was wild, dude. Like I can't believe that they did what they did.
My one takeaway from this game was that LeBron James was there because he is a co-owner of Liverpool. And he was there drinking wine in his little suit, vibing out, even though they lost. But that's my takeaway from the game.
LeBron wears a suit.
LeBron's share probably can even pay for Mo Salah's contract.
Guest appearance there.
Oh, man.
All right. So also just one thing I want to talk about as well. News came out yesterday about CONCACAF. We got to stick to North America. Julian. CONCACAF is going to expand in 2020-24. They're expanding their who they're making eligible. For their, I think this says 27 clubs. They're reserving 5 clubs for MLS teams. I think they're reserving a couple for like the Caribbean Cup.
Oh, you're talking
And
about the Champions League.
yeah, they just created they just created the Central American Champions League, or they created a new cup, and they're gonna for CONCACAF they're gonna expand the qualifications for the Champions League. So I don't know what you heard about that or what you knew about that, but the news finally came out.
Huh. Yeah. So,
Any thoughts?
yeah, I heard about this last year, but yeah, I'm seeing all the news. I guess it was set in motion this yesterday. But yeah, I thought this was already a done deal. Um, but yeah, I guess so. Yeah. So basically, yeah, this is a great. This is awesome to see. Okay, so it looks like everybody acknowledged the qualifications to get in. Okay, yeah, yeah. Yeah, this is great. More clubs, more teams playing in the Champions League for CONCACAF is great. I mean, more competition, more opportunities
All
for
right,
players to
so
put their name out there.
for casuals
Um,
like myself, what's going on here with that?
all right, so essentially, every the world is broken up. FIFA breaks up the world into how many six different regions. So you have UEFA, CONCACAF. UEFA's Europe, your United European Football,
European
something.
Union.
Yeah. You have CONCACAF, which is Confederation of North America, Central America, and the Caribbean islands. You have CONMEBOL, which is South America, essentially. You
All
have
right.
AFCON, Africa, AFC, which is Asian Federation, and then you have Oceania. So they're
Those are like the
basically all broken
divisions.
up.
Yeah,
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 they're all
yeah.
those are
broken
like
up
the
by
divisions.
region. And then you have the Champions League. So, which the Champions League is essentially the winner of every domestic league.
Yep.
So, like, when they win, there's different qualifications. You don't have to be the champion. It's called the Champions League. It was originally meant for like a champion of every country, but
The
it's
winner,
slowly
yeah.
evolved to allow a bigger name team. So it's like the top 4, for example, around the world, because everybody else uses a point system, not a playoff system, and MLS uses. So yeah, basically the top teams you qualify different ways. So for the rest of the world, it's pretty much I think like the top 4 in points, essentially, because they don't have playoffs. It's just regular season. But for MLS, there's a couple ways to qualify, which there's 5. There's the MLS Cup winner, the Supporter Shield winner, which is basically the best regular season record. You have the best regular season record of the opposing conference of the Supporter Shield winner. So if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
like the Supporter Shield winners in the Eastern Conference, that means you get the best record from the Western Conference. They
Yeah,
qualify.
whoever the winner.
Um,
Yeah.
you get the uh, and then you get it looks like you get a berth through the U.S. Open Cup, which is basically like essentially a March Madness, but like every amateur, semi-pro, professional team
Yeah,
Has like
are
a
in a
chance.
tournament.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like a specific tournament for everybody. That's
I feel like that's
Inter
a tougher route to go through. Yeah.
Yeah, Inter Miami actually just got knocked out of the quarterfinals against Orlando. And then there's this new thing called the Leagues Cup, where they're combining and merging with the Liga MX, the Mexican League,
So there's lots
where
of
it's going to
ways
be like
to.
there's a
Yeah.
lot of different ways. Yeah, essentially a lot of different ways to get in, and basically all those different ways you then compete in a tournament to win to become the
CONCACAF.
champion of the continent, and that's kind of the
Of
idea.
all Central
And
Caribbean.
they basically the
Expand.
CONCACAF expanded to allow more teams in more different ways to enter into the CONCACAF Champions League. And I think it's a good thing. That's awesome that we're getting more teams able to
soccer.
qualify. And it's really good, too, for the smaller nations as well, like Canada. Because before, the only way Canadians could get in, the only Canadian teams that were getting in were MLS Canadian teams like Toronto, Vancouver, Montreal. But Canada also has their own separate league that is
Small.
designated
They have
only
small
for Canadian.
like minor league.
That the Canadian Premier League, which is like their professional league, which is outside of those MLS teams.
Yeah.
So it's a way for that league for teams to get in from that league. Different ways from more Central American. It's just great because you're just getting more competition, and it's good, and it makes it. They're trying to compete, obviously, for eyes for the UEFA Champions League, which is
Yeah.
deemed as the greatest soccer competition in the world, or greatest competition in the world, probably some would say. So yeah, it's a good thing. I like it. More games, the better.
All right, let's talk about real quick. Let's transition over to NFL news. NFL's planning to get rid of the Pro Bowl. I did not hear any of this, but Julian put it on the topic sheet. Julian, how do you feel about the Pro Bowl in general?
Kind of heard this debate.
Wait, say that again. I accidentally hit my knob on my headphones and it like completely went quiet.
I was gonna say, how do you feel about the Pro Bowl in general, and what do you think about the future of the Pro Bowl? Going forward?
Man, all right. So the Pro Bowl game itself sucks. It's terrible.
Know you hate it. We know you hate it.
But I think the idea is they're not going to get rid of the Pro Bowl weekend, or like the idea of like getting voted into the Pro Bowl, because obviously it's an accomplishment. We should have reward players and they should get their bonuses for making Pro Bowls and stuff. Obviously, the game just seems like something nobody ever wants to play. It just seems like you're just kind of at least going. I always thought the best thing was the challenges. I mean, and that goes for really any sport, honestly, like baseball, basketball, hockey. Like obviously nobody's going to go that hard because essentially it's a meaningless game. And when they try to make it meaningful, it doesn't ever really end up working. And nobody ends up really liking it. Like what they did with baseball. Like if you won the All-Star game, then you got home field advantage, which I thought was always stupid. But I would like to see just more competitions, more friendly, like more like cool shit. I always thought I know back in the day they used to do the bench press challenge, which was always pretty cool to watch, but obviously they're not going to do that anymore because players don't want to like tear a fucking pec going for like their 40th rep on 225. But just more challenges. They do more like cool shit or like dodgeball. I don't know if I want to watch dodgeball, but like I know that's what they were doing last year. But if they could just find like cool like challenges that they could capitalize, like they do with the quarterback challenge, because the quarterback challenge is always kind of fun to watch too. Something they can do that's entertaining and they don't have to worry about injury risk, which is going to be a tough thing for NFL to figure out.
I was going to throw that in there. It's like, I understand this whole injury thing between the professional athletes and, in any sport, right? Real quick to baseball. I think the All-Star game, I think that's probably one of the best All-Star games. I know you hate, what they win if they, the home field advantage thing and everything. But I feel like baseball is one of those sports where like you can still play a real game. Like the pitcher's going to go pitch, the hitters are going to go hit, and the fielders are going to field, and you're going to see real baseball, but the best players on the field.
Yeah.
Basketball, we know. Yeah, basketball, we know, okay, it might get fun, competitive at the end, because again, the injury, and then football, obviously, with the injuries. And I do like the idea, like you mentioned, with, the competitions and everything like that. But it's just so hard. Like if you always have injury in the back of your mind as a physical athlete for something that I guess doesn't count, it's like, then why do anything? Because it's kind of hard. You're going to find that median and like, oh, we can do this competition. Oh, but he could get injured his pec. Or we could do races, but he could pull his hamstring running full speed. So it's like, what's the answer? If you're really always worried about injury during that season, or maybe you have to change when you do the Pro Bowl, kind of in a sense,
or maybe
afterwards or mid-season. Like who knows? Like it's kind of weird.
Or maybe you could do something just like completely like unrelated to football. Like I know they tried to do with the dodgeball thing.
Care then? I get the whole ceremony. You vote them in. We love it, right? You should get your recognition. But this is supposed to appeal to the fans.
There's something, dude. There's something out
like,
there.
And it's hard. It's hard. Like, what do you really replace it with? Like, if you're not going to play ball,
I think anything's better than playing the actual game. Anything's better than that. And there's something.
Unless they go 100%. If they change, like, hey, listen, you guys got to play.
There's no shot. Dude. No way.
You guys got to play.
Teams wouldn't want that. Owners wouldn't. No.
Here's my guarantee to make the Pro Bowl better. You should have the NFL Olympics. NFL Olympics.
Okay. I was thinking
all these guys.
Gabe's on to something.
A lot of these guys in college, they're track stars. They play basketball. They do it into other sports. Some of them play baseball. Have NFL Olympics where we just have a couple games, a softball tournament. You have track and field. You have some swimming. You have some archery.
Track and field.
Have these guys.
I would love to. I would love to see like 40-yard dash races. Like that would be awesome. But I don't think that's happening.
And I think they do a little bit with the skill stuff. I mean, that's kind of in there,
Yeah.
throwing, catching, route running. They do a little bit of that, which is enjoyable. I think you are right. Like as far as the NFL, Pro Bowl, I think anything but the game is better. But I want to counter Jojo what you said. Like it doesn't count for anything towards the season, but it does count because guys have their contract structured around it. They have certain achievements. You get so many sacks, you get so many awards and accolades. You do get money for it. So you, in a way, you are getting paid to entertain. But like what you said earlier is like for baseball, it's in the middle of the season, right? So there is a risk of like if I get injured here, I'll fuck up the rest of my season.
I also think
that's at the end of the year.
I also think with I was gonna say I also think with baseball, you can kind of just by the nature of the sport, like it's just not a very like unless you're a pitcher, it's not a super injury prone sport like in general. It's not like football where it's like
and
any hit can happen.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
To me the most at risk is the pitcher. Like maybe they could fuck up their elbow or something thrown at like 90 miles per hour, but like that's probably you can get away with it a little bit more because it's like at the end of the day it's not the most injury prone sport like something like football or even like basketball or hockey could be like or soccer or whatever. But yeah, I think the idea of like some sort of Olympic, if they can come up with something, there's some brains out there. They can come up with something like maybe like boating or some shit. I don't know, like kayak, like rope.
Is that what the fans would actually want?
I don't know. Like,
listen.
Or open it up to voting for the fans. Like have see what people want, come up with ideas, like open it out to the public. Because at the end of the day, the idea is to have people watch. Why not get the people that are actually going to watch it have a say in what people are going to do?
Because I promise you, like what Julian said, like I'm already not watching the Pro Bowl. Like I do not watch the Pro Bowl. I think it's nice, when they try to do stuff, they try to switch it. Like they had Deion Sanders pick teams versus Michael Irvin, and they switch, Western and Eastern, AFC.
Yeah, they didn't even get rid of
that. Was interesting. Right, but honestly, as far as the game itself, I'm watching 0% of the game.
I think the real solution is you're going to keep all these competition stuff on the side, right? They're going to have the fun stuff.
That'll be one day.
They really need to do? You need to have the most intense flag football game, real football rules on the field. You have all the players there, intense, aggressive flag football. And I think you can really have an effective game. Have a real quarterback in there, have your receivers running your routes, your blockers, and I think it could be really entertaining. And just use 100 yards to play the full field.
I want to say they've thought about doing the 7-on-7. I want to say they've thought about it. I'm not sure how true that is, but I don't know, man. I think you still come across the same issue of like guys not wanting to pull a hammy or like fucking like.
But it's like, so what do you do then? You're just not gonna play, and you're not gonna do anything.
I don't like. I really
in the NBA, you're not gonna do the dunk contest. You're not gonna
what it would have to be. It would have to be something more technical, not so much athletic. And I think that's like throwing a football, like quarterback skills challenge. That's a more obviously there's athleticism to doing it, but it's more of a technical thing. And they would have to come up with something that can be more technical. Like honestly, like what if they just did like what if they did this? What if they took from other sports? What if they did like a softball home run derby, or they did a 3-point shootout, or a 3-point shootout? Like I don't know, like. But like, what if you
like? You think I want to see NFL players?
I don't know. Man. Put them on fucking.
I think it'd be funny. It could be funny. You see guys swing. I saw JaVale McGee swing the other day. He looked terrible.
Put them on fucking skates. I don't know, man.
We have other sports for that, right? You can do that for fun on the side. For your charities and all that. Cool. Like they organize those things already. Like I feel like fans are going to go travel.
Here's one thing for sure.
To Orlando or to Hawaii to see these guys do anything than what they're getting paid to do. Like I'm not here to see you throw frisbees and hit home runs with a softball. Like I'm not there to do that.
I think the goal is finding out more skill challenges. If they can just do skill challenges and find more things they can do with the skill challenges, that I think maybe maybe take some things from the combine. You have to do something like that. One thing I will say too: get rid of the Pro Bowl out of Arizona and Orlando. No player wants to go there. Like those are trash sites. Nobody like if you had the choice to go to Hawaii or Orlando and Arizona, 99% of these people will say Hawaii. The only people that might say Orlando's for Disney, but even then, I
Disney.
still would rather go to Hawaii, dude. Like, take these guys back to Hawaii. I don't know why they're trying to move that shit around like it's a draft. It's not the same thing. You're supposed to reward these guys. It's supposed to be like their vacation. Let them go to fucking like Hawaii. Go somewhere nice, not fucking Orlando and Arizona, dude. Like,
One last point I want to make on this was like what Jojo said a little bit earlier about like what is the point of the Pro Bowl, right? Isn't it supposed to be like to celebrate? It's for the fans, right? It's supposed to celebrate, even if my sorry ass Dolphins can't make it to the championship, right? Because usually the championships teams get pulled from the Pro Bowl, right? Even though I can't see Patrick Mahomes or Pro Bowl, at least I can see my guy, right? This is a guy that
Tyreek
I follow.
Hill.
They have that week of voting or a month of voting where I go in every day. I text 5 times a day. I go on my email. I make a fake email.
Gabe's really telling us a lot right now. He texts
to anon.
Please get Mike a Sickie. Please get a 60. Do a 69 420. Do a 69.
So at least it's to celebrate the fans.
He's the best left-handed quarterback in the league.
to see your guys. Maybe your team didn't get it, but at least you can get shine on your guys. That goes for the NBA as well. Like even if the Heat suck and they lose, at least I can get I can vote for Bam Adebayo. Whatever, I can vote for whatever favorite player that might not get recognition otherwise. So I think in that way, like do something. It should be entertaining. It should be for the fans. It should be fun. It should be like a kind of a meet and greet kind of thing, just to celebrate the, whatever. We're talking about the NFL, to celebrate the NFL and to celebrate the fans, really, right? Because it was like, oh, look, it's been a long year. Look, that's all the people we like. They're here, all the faces. So make it more like a Comic-Con kind of feel, like a fun thing.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, fun, maybe. That's true. Like a panel, like people can like interview, like what they do for Super Bowl, like the Super Bowl experience, like when they do like the whole they take up the whole convention center.
They do it for the whole league.
But like an NFL, for everybody. Yeah, and then players are there. Like I said, they kind of do that for the Super Bowl, but yeah, maybe they could do it on a grander scale. Final thought though, I do think NFL has the best timing with their All-Star game. I don't understand why every other league does it middle of the fucking season.
And what's wrong with that?
It's so dumb. You're supposed to be the All-Star, the league All-Star of the season, not half of the season. Yeah, like that is, to me, that's just so dumb, because then you can have a good half season and the second half of the season you're terrible. Then meanwhile, maybe somebody had like a pretty decent half season, not good enough to make the All-Star game, but then the second half they like balled out. I don't know. I just think it's dumb. It should be at the end of the season. It's an All-Star thing, people who perform the best throughout the season, not half the season. And then because when you do that half the season, I feel like it leads to just a popularity contest, which it already kind of is, but I feel like it makes it more of a popularity contest because like how many people out there are watching like every single game?
Bigger sample size.
Yeah, but then again, that's why you have MVP voting at the end of the season.
Yeah, but it's different than an all-star team.
It's a tale of two halves. I feel like if you deserve it, and I understand, it does have a point, and I'm not against change, but it is the way it's always been, and it's a great halfway mark in plenty of in baseball and basketball. Like that's it. That's half of the season's done. You got the second half to look forward to, and you make your adjustments where you need to make your adjustments, whether you're in an all-star game or not. And teams can really pan out how their season's gonna end at all-star break. So I don't know. I like it. You make a good point though. I'm not gonna disagree with that. Right? It's for the season, but I feel like that's where you have MVP voting and all these other awards you can win towards the end of the season. You could come back from that.
Yeah.
All right. Let's finish this. Let's finish this podcast. Last topic. We're going to talk about the MLB now. Basketball's ending. We're in the middle of NHL playoffs. Baseball season is getting hot. Literally, it's hot because it's summertime.
Summertime's here.
Hot as balls.
So
95 degrees every day over here now.
Let's just talk about baseball in general. Let's talk about the Yankees because they're number one in the American League East. They're 5 games above the Blue Jays right now. Jojo, what are your thoughts so far on the Yankees? How have they been doing?
Yeah.
Where were they?
I mean, overall, man, we made all the adjustments we needed to make from last season. I'm very proud of how this team is doing. We're killing the competition right now. We're the hottest team in baseball, aside from LA, which I don't understand how they're always right there with us, right? Like we're fighting for number one right now. So we're 34-15. LA right now is 33-17. So we're right there. We still have the edge, but I got to give it up to the Yankees pitching. They've been doing amazing, and that's what's keeping us in right now. We already know we're an offensive team. We live and die by the home run. But we also added, some contact players. We're just getting everybody. That's what we do, and we're making it work. We're making it happen. So kudos to them, and we've been destroying our division, and easily one of the toughest divisions in the league, the American League East. We got Toronto here right behind us, like you said, Tampa Bay. Boston's having a pretty down year, and of course, Orioles ain't really going anywhere. But just to highlight, not just the Yankees, but shout out to the New York Mets right now,
It's
and
New York as
it'll
a
be
whole.
hopeful. The way it's looking at right now, man, we could potentially see a Yankee
Subway
Met
Series.
Subway World
Battle in New
Series,
York.
Subway World Series, which I think only happened once. I don't remember the year
I
it
was gonna
happened.
say, has that ever happened? Like
It's happened.
and not even just in any baseball, like not even just baseball, but like just in any sport, like for any city. Like, has it happened for Chicago, LA, or New York in any like where they obviously not football? I don't think. Yeah, football for sure. No.
Well, it works out in baseball because they're in different leagues, so National League and American
Yeah, they're
League.
always
So
in
it
different
work out.
leagues.
Yeah, exactly. But I know it's happened
Jets,
in New York.
Giants, they can
And
be.
early in the season, LA Angels, which actually Yankees are playing right now, they were in first place in the division, and Dodgers were in first place in the division. So it's like battle of the cities right now. LA at the top, and both New York teams at the top. And I think it'll be dope on either side if that were to happen. LA Angels just bringing them all. I think they're on a 6-game or 7-game losing streak right now.
Yeah,
But
they're on a
do have
6-game
Julio.
losing streak
Yep.
right now.
They have
3 out of 7 in
Ohtani.
the last 10.
He gave up 3 home runs today. I was watching the game before the podcast. It's the rain delay game from yesterday, so they got a doubleheader today, and they got your man Trout back, best player, but not currently because you got your boy Aaron Judge right now. He's the best player in the league, but so it's hopeful.
Real quick,
for LA.
Last time the Yankees met the Mets was in 2000. They played in the World Series, and the Yankees won that.
But it's never happened any other time across any other sport before.
I'm sure I have to look because Chicago, the White Sox, Cubs, but I don't think they've ever met. It have to be like
basketball doesn't work because basketball they do
specifically.
Eastern and Western Conference. I think
exactly.
it can only work in football and baseball. I think, right? Yeah, football and baseball are the only ones they could do it in because they have separate conferences and divisions.
So yeah, like you said, it should be exciting, man. The Yankees have a plus 77 point differential. The Mets are plus 73. They're up there in the 70s. So they are a hot team. But I feel like the Mets this year, they definitely made moves.
That's a fact.
Getting Scherzer. They've made moves to kind of compete.
Holy shit.
And the National
And
League.
it's always a tale of two halves for the Mets, man. Usually they come out to this hot start, and then when you see them by the fall, it's just a collapse. They're injury prone.
Have you guys seen the
playoff curse?
Have you guys seen the run differential for the Dodgers? It is like way above anybody else. 112. The next closest one is the Yankees at 79.
Like we always say, Dodgers is the West Coast Yankees, man. They're out here making moves right with us. Just when we think we're so far ahead of the league, they're right there. So I wouldn't doubt to see Dodgers make a run in the playoffs once again this season. But I truly feel like this is our year. Not a delusional Yankee fan, just realistically looking at where the team is right now. We're doing all the right things. I think it's only happened once or twice where we lost more than 2 games in a row back to back. And we killed the month of April, like obliterated everyone. We had a great month of May. Coming into June just started, obviously, but we're winning series. I think we're the last team to get 10 losses in the league. It took us a while to get 10 losses. We're right there. Like I said, 35-17, top of the National League right now. This time last year, we're battling, in 3rd or 4th place in our own division. So it's a completely different year. And your boy Aaron Judge is fighting for his contract right now that the Yankees didn't want to give him. And honestly, we should do anything and everything to keep this guy right now. Pay that man. Pay him whatever he wants. Give that man whatever he wants, because if he leaves right now, that's going to be devastating.
Meanwhile, the Marlins are 20-28 with a plus 16 run differential. Makes no sense how you have such a high run differential and down 8 games.
It makes sense if you watch baseball.
And then the Cubs are just I think it's the downtrend for the Cubs. The Cubs had their run, and now it's over.
I mean, I don't know if you remember what happened to the Cubs last year, but they completely dismantled their team in the middle of the season. Hence,
how
got rid of Rizzo.
They got rid of Baez. They got
another 100 years. It's going to be another 100 years till they win again.
Yeah, they weren't going to pay these guys, man. These long-term contracts, they were just too good, and the way their season was going in terms of winning, they couldn't afford to keep these guys.
Bro, and then it's like the Cubs make so much money, and I get there's a salary cap, but like...
You know, it's funny. I just realized he's wearing a Cubs hat right now as we're talking about this.
That's why he's looking at the scores.
That's why he's paying attention.
Anyways, your Cubs suck. They're rebuilding, man. The Cubs suck. They're rebuilding.
Yeah. They had a good run. At least they got one chip out of it. So...
I mean, there's a lot of sleeper teams too that we can't forget. Milwaukee leading their division right now. I had the pleasure of seeing them play last week when they came into town. That was pretty dope.
And Padres are right behind the Dodgers, only 3 games behind.
Listen, man, Padres got to make moves to win that division. If they don't want to be a wild card this year, it's gonna be tough. But they're gonna have to take that top spot from LA this year. San Francisco, I don't really see them doing anything. Arizona for sure, no, and Colorado, the Rockies.
Am I crazy or did I dream? Is Albert Pujols going back to St. Louis?
He's already there.
This is last year.
He's there. Yeah,
there.
I wasn't. Did he get what happened? I remember saw something.
Gabe, did you see that game? I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago. St. Louis was up 17-0, and they put Yachty in the pitch.
Yeah.
Yachty has pitched his first game in the league.
He's also at the end of his career.
And he gave up 4 runs. They won 17-4.
When's the World Baseball Classic? Next year?
That's not bad. Yeah, I believe next year.
What is it, qualifiers? Is it just qualifiers this year?
Qualifiers, I think, are in the fall.
In the fall? Oh, yeah.
I don't know where they're located. I believe it's in the fall to get ready for next year for the World Baseball Classic. And Miami, I think we're hosting the first round and semifinals as well, which last time...
Of the initial tournament.
When we didn't host semifinals, LA had all the semifinals and the finals games.
Damn, dude. It's been 6 years. Well, it's going to be 6 years by the time it actually happens. That's a big gap.
Yeah, well, COVID postponed it a couple of years, so...
I'm surprised they postponed it like that far, though. You think they would at least got done this year?
Yeah, I mean...
You think they would have started? Like at least this year. Maybe not 2021, but you think they would have got it this year by now. But
all right, guys. Well, I think this will leave it off.
That's pretty much it. That'll wrap it up. Nah, I got it. I mean, we're gonna have all the sports going on, man. You know, there's hockey still going on. I'll probably watch that in the peripheral. I just want to see Tampa Bay.
Real quick,
UFC.
It's a big New York's killing it right now in sports. Obviously, the 2 baseball teams. The Rangers are doing a good job. NYCFC's number 1 in the league right now, and MLS, like they're having a good couple. Except for the Knickerbockers, they'll never have a good year.
That's a constant. Taxes and the Knicks.
The Jets have supposedly a good offense. Who knows? The Jets are probably going to stink again, though. And the Giants are just terrible. So.
We'll bring you more New York. Yeah, more news about New York teams sucking. Next week, all the news. Soccer, MLB, NFL, whatever's going on, we're going to be here talking about it. I'm Gabe. I just remembered that.
Hey, guy. Hey, Gabe.
We'll be here next week. Julie and JoJo, Gabe will be here next week. Talk more sports. Real Fans Podcast. We appreciate all the downloads and subscriptions. See y'all next week.